Good morning, everybody. Um, Let us begin, as always, by thanking Swami Chidanand Ji and Vibha Chaitanya Ji and others for organizing these webinar series. I personally have found it very valuable, a weekly reminder of our traditions. Often I cannot attend because of travel, so I always listen to the recording, all of which I'm grateful for. It is customary to begin these conversations with a prayer and the Shanti Patha. However, I find we tend to relax and not really appreciate the value of the Shanti Patha. So what I'd like to do for the first 10 minutes is set the stage in a slightly different way. It's also a Shanti Patha, but slightly different. Bear with me. The topic, as announced today, relates to the Kenopanishad and the questions asked in the Kenopanishad. You and I, all of us, can imagine 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, not last year, not 10 years ago, not 100 years ago, not 1,000 years ago, not 2,000 years ago, but 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. A group of students sitting in front of a teacher, and the students were friends, and one of the students asks a question. 4 parts to a question, but asks a question. The teacher responds, the student understands, walks up and walks away, stands up and walks away. The others still remain and the teacher continues to teach. But this student who has asked the question has earned our respect, has earned our admiration over the past 3,000 to 4,000 years. We can imagine all of us sitting in front of the teacher and this friend of ours reaching across the centuries asking that question. What kind of a student is he? What kind of a question has he asked? And that is our study. But for the Shanti Patha today, what I've chosen to do is shamelessly copied from Sri Shankaracharya Ji's introduction to the Kenopanishad. There are 9 thoughts that I've selected. I think they're very, very valuable thoughts. They will help us settle down to addressing the question. It'll put everything else at rest. These thoughts are a description of the student. Let us start here. First sentence, Shankaracharya Ji says, some wise man, having turned his eyes inward, saw the inner self. Some wise man, having turned his eyes inward, saw the inner self. But for you and I, Brahman has made the senses external in the activity, and man or woman therefore looks outward, not at the self within. Very true. All of us every day look outwards. We actually seek experiences. We look outwards. But some wise man, having turned his eyes inward, saw the inner self. Now, description again of us. Karma is performed for realization of desires. In those days, karma was perhaps from the Vedic karma kanda, rituals. In these days, is the work you and I do. Karma has the principle of cause and effect. You do this, you get that result. Karma is performed for realization of desires. Now we're beginning to understand our student better, the disciple who posed the question a little bit better. The desire to know Brahman springs only in the person who is tired of the ephemeral medley of cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. The desire to know Brahman springs only in the person whose mind is pure, who is free from desires, and who is free from deeds done in this birth or in the previous ones. Such is perhaps the description of this disciple who has asked the question. The desire to know Brahman springs only in the person whose mind is pure, who is free from desires, and who is free from deeds done in this birth or in previous ones. And Shankaracharya says, it is in this way and not otherwise a man free from desires becomes qualified to hear, contemplate, and acquire knowledge of the self. Becomes qualified. So this morning, our conversation is not to acquire knowledge of the inner self, but it is an attempt to become like our fellow friend 4,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, who was pure enough to understand his teacher's teaching. Next few sentences equally important. Knowledge of the Brahman is independent of human efforts. What we do this morning is a human effort. Together, as fellow seekers, we will study this first shloka of the Upanishad. This is a human effort. Knowledge of the Brahman is independent of human efforts. More important, this knowledge is not to be attained by logical discussion. That's all we can do here this morning. But the knowledge of Brahman is not to be attained by logical discussion. Lastly, for a student who's pure, whose mind is pure, who's free from desires, let him approach a preceptor who is well read in the Vedas and who is centered in the Brahman. This is our Shanti Patha for today. This is what brings peace to our minds, enough that we can concentrate on the subject at hand. This is our Shanti Patha, a recognition of the qualities of that student who asked the question of his teacher. In this Shanti Patha, we are admiring the student. We are admiring the depths that he is probing. Most of us have a whole lot of questions. We have questions on how to make money. We have questions how to solve tomorrow's problems. We have questions on nonlinear fluid dynamics. We have questions on astrophysics. We're stepping all that aside for the moment of this duration, for this 1 hour, and admire the student in the depth of his question, not our questions, and why his question, his or her question, is so fundamental. We're trying to understand the subtlety of his question. In order to do that, we will use our intellect, we will use logic, we will use science, recognizing that all we are doing is understanding the subtlety of his question. We are not trying to understand Brahman. As Shankaracharya said, the knowledge of the Brahman is not to be attained by logical discussion. As we approach this question posed by the student, at least in my case, there's a tremendous love and affection for this disciple, and a hope to emulate him, to be like him. It is tremendous affection that rises in your heart. And is this exercise valuable? Absolutely yes. Swami Chinmayananda, I can still remember him very, very clearly. He came many, many times to California. I can remember very clearly. One morning, he actually personally led the meditation session. And then, of course, he taught an Upanishad in the morning. Usually he reserves the Gita for the evening. And for one particularly intense session on the Upanishad, he said, it was, and the audience was calm, everything was calm, it's because of the intensity of the teaching that he gave us. He said, I can see Brahman in your eyes. And in moments like these, thousands of your vasanas burn away. If you remember, he used the word vasana very often. So our karma burns away in these sessions. So we can begin to approach our fellow student in quality. So it is with this attitude that we study the Upanishads. It is with this attitude we hope to get a glimmer of understanding of the start lists. And in these questions, and trying to understand the questions, I think personally, the answer lies within the question itself. Okay, let's approach the Upanishad. The formal Shantipatha is Om Atha Kenopanishad. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranaschakshuhu Shrotram Matho Balamindriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranam Astu Anirakaraname Astu Tadatmani Nirate Ya Upanishad Sudharmaste Mayi Santu Te Mayi Santu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let those qualities that the Upanishad revels in, let those qualities reside in us. So the shloka that we've been studying, we've had 2 sessions so far, this is the 3rd session, is just the first verse of the Upanishad. There are 4 thoughts. Om Keneshitam Padati Preshitam Manaha Kena Prāṇah Prathamaha Praiti Yuktaha Keneshitam Vācamimam Vadanti Chakshuhu Shrotram Ka Udevo Yunakti. Very fundamental question. Impelled by what does the mind fall upon its objects? Yuktaha, yoked by what does prana, the first, praiti, progress? Keneshitam vācamimam vadanti, propelled by what, wished by what do all these people speak? Chakshuhu Shrotram Ka Udevo Yunakti. Chakshuhu Shrotram. What gods impel them? Today we stay focused on just one line. Kena Prāṇah Prathamaha Praiti Yuktaha. By what? Prāṇah Prathamaha Praiti Yuktaha. This is a wonderful line, and Sri Aurobindo talks about how prana is a universal force. We will talk about that later on. In Vedic literature, it's analogous to, is described as a horse. Yuktaha means yoked. By what? Kena yuktaha. By what is this horse, which is prana, yuktaha? By what is it yoked? And praiti goes forward in the symbolism of the horse. By what does it prance forward? By what does it go forward? Who yokes it? And what propels it forward? At this time, let us spend a few minutes just thinking in terms of prana as we traditionally know it. The fact that this Upanishad encourages a question, encourages us to wonder about these things, encourages our curiosity, encourages our astonishment. The only faculties we have to study these things is our mind, our observation with our senses. This is all we have. And these are often wrong. We discussed about that before. Our memory is often wrong. Our thinking is often wrong. Our perception is often wrong. What is the truth? To help us enter science, enter philosophy or Vedanta. So science is a way in which we, in a regimented fashion, use our intellect, we collect data and try to arrive at truth. So we try to avoid all faulty perceptions. Vedanta is the same. We use our intellect to try and eliminate faulty perceptions, faulty understanding. And as we go through the study of Vedanta, there is no conflict between science and Vedanta. They're one and the same. And they're very easily reconciled. So today we are focused on Kena Prāṇah Prathamaha Prayati Yuktaha. Before we talk about the universal prana or the life force of the universe or larger, let's talk first in terms of what we normally understand prana to be. So Pancha Prāṇah, as is taught in our tradition, and many of us are of course very, very familiar with this, we've grown up with this as children. Prana, the breath that flows into a lung, the upper chest region, the heart, the rib cage, respiration. This is prana, a common understanding of prana. But in our tradition, prana also has other categories. Apana, excretion, removing toxins, bowel movements, urinary tracts. This is a bodily function. That's a common understanding as part of prana. Apana. Samana, often described as digestive functions. Food that enters gets digested in your stomach. Something else that I heard from Sri Aurobindo, which I really respect, samana is also a balance. It is the balance between intake and outtake. Samana. Digestion, nutrition, balance, samana. Vyana, flow through the body. The blood that courses through your limbs, through your muscles, through your cells. Carrying nutrition, carrying oxygen, removing waste from each of your cells. Vyana, the nervous system which carries sensation through your body. Vyana. And something that I don't fully understand, udana. Something that flows up to your brain and connects you to the spirit beyond. Udana. Prana, breath. Apana, evacuation. Samana, digestive functions or the balance in your body. Vyana, the blood circulation, the nervous system. Udana, into the brain, flow of the life force into the brain and beyond, the connection to the spirit. I don't fully understand the last. So, prana in a sense is life as we know it in this human body and human experience, in a sense. But let us digress briefly here. Traditionally, there have been many analogies in Vedantic teachings. Swami Chidananda, Swami Chinmayananda, they have all used these analogies. They've talked about the analogies of the pot or the gold in the ornament. But one analogy that we will use today as a basis for further discussion is the analogy of the wave. When you're standing on a lake and there are waves visible on the lake, it's easy to imagine our ancestors looking at all the waves approaching the shore. If all those waves really contained water approaching the shore, there would be a tremendous flood. Either that, or there would be a tremendous undercurrent taking the water back, neither of which exists. So it's easy to see our ancestors looking at those waves and forming the mental conception. The wave approaches us, but the water does not. Let's think through that. The wave approaches us, but the water does not. This is because, and in modern science, fluid mechanics, which I know well, tells us, as the wave approaches us, the water particles go through a circular motion. They do not advect, they do not come towards you. The wave form comes towards you, but the water does not. In and through the wave is water. It's easy to ask, who am I? What is the shape? What is the wave? Is it the shape? Is it the material inside the shape? The shape approaches us. It's easily visible to our eyes. What is not visible is the water particles going in circular motion without coming towards us that sustain and create the waveform. As the wave comes towards us, the material content of the wave is not constant. It changes. A different water particle goes through its circular motion as the wave moves forward. Conceptually, this is a beautiful analogy. The water body is the universe. It sustains the wave, and the wave is what you and I think as I. The water body and the water particles that move are the prana, and the waveform is I, the ego. I think this is a very powerful example, substantiated with modern science, modern calculus, modern mathematics, but very easy to see why our ancients picked this example. The wave is I, the universe is the water that sustains the wave. In and through the wave is the water. Even the motion of the wave is in the particles of water undergoing circular motion. The water does not move, but the wave does. So this is prana. Prana is the life force within us. Prana is prana, apana, samana, vyana, udana. Prana manifests as hunger in your belly, as desire. This life force manifests in our eagerness to perceive the universe, in our eagerness to use our faculties. This is prana. And contemplating on the nature of prana helps remove identification of the body, helps us reduce a sense of ego, a sense of I. So this is a useful exercise. And this exercise has been given to us from our fellow student, a fellow disciple from 3,000 years ago, our good friend. You should remember to thank him. So this analogy of the wave and the water applies very much to our body. Prana is a life force. Our prana engages with the universe. It crosses the traditional perception that I am the body. Every instance involves exchange of physical matter with the universe, exchange of sensations with the universe, exchange of light with the universe, exchange of sound or vibrations with the universe. Where does your body begin and where does it end? If you close your eyes, your mouth intakes food, your nose intakes air, your senses intake experiences. In and through you passes the universe. You might say that, well, the boundary of I is my skin. Now, your skin is porous. You perspire through your skin. You exchange material with the universe through your skin. You look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I am tall. My bones are tall. But that's just relative. In this instant, you think you're tall. But over a period of 30 years or 50 years or 60 years in my case, your body has grown tall as a consequence of the universe passing material into your bones. What am I? Let's go back to the concept of Pancha Prana. Prana, the first concept, the flow of air into your lungs, into your heart, the absorption of oxygen, the release of carbon dioxide. As Swami Chidananda gave us a very powerful meditation exercise. Concentration on your breath. As you breathe in, say Soham. As you breathe out, say Naham. Soham, Naham. It works very well. I've tried it. It works extremely well in dissolving the ego and recognizing the relationship between what we normally consider to be I and the vast universe around us. Apana, excretion. Flow out of your anus, flow out of your urinary glands, removing toxins. But it's also apana through every cell of your body. You close your eyes, every cell, every muscle, every nerve receives nutrition, excretes its waste. That are processed through your liver, processed and eliminated through your body. Samana, digestive functions. You think, I eat food, my food is digested in my stomach? Really? You rely on millions of bacteria in your stomach. You rely on your saliva to digest the food. There are a host of worms in your belly that help you digest your food. Coexistent. Vyana, flow through your body. Every capillary receives its share of blood to transfer to the remotest cell. Your fingernails, the thinnest hair, everyone that grows. Vyana receives it from the universe through your stomach, through your breath. Nervous system, every sensation, every sight that you see, sound that you hear is presented to your brain through your nervous system. Udana, this is a very difficult one for me. It's a flow of life, of prana into your brain. So some of the exercises that are useful, Swami Chidananda's exercise, say Naham when you breathe out, Soham when you breathe in. Very, very useful, because when you're trying to meditate and focusing on your breath, your mind needs something. And these two words are very powerful in bringing integrated attention. Or when you're meditating and focusing on your breath, can you feel the pulse through your body? Try it. It's very difficult. It requires you to be calm, and you can first perhaps begin to feel the pulsation in your ears. If you're careful, you can feel the pulsation at the tips of your fingers, at your feet. Search for it. Udana, how your brain connects to the universe around you, the spirit above you. Such simple meditative exercises help us in drawing the connection. When you say Om, Ah, U, Om, starts at your chest, throat, mouth, goes to your sinuses, Aum, and you pay attention, it goes into your brain, and you can even feel the vibration at the top of your head. If you're still enough and you say Om with concentration. The Om ends at the top of your head. Maybe that is Udana. There's not much more I can say. It has been half an hour. But Kena Prānaha Prathamaha Praiti Yuktaha. This is how we started. By what does Prana, Prathamaha, prayati yuktaha. The sensation here is the universal life force. Every chemical reaction is prana. Every tree is prana. Every animal is prana. The sunlight causing reaction, causing photosynthesis is prana. The sap flowing through a tree is prana. Birds flying through the air in a V formation is prana. I suspect that the march of time is prana. So the universal prana, the universal life force is prathamaha. What is it that ties a yoke around this prana? And prayati leads it forward. Kena pranaha prathamaha, the first, the prana, the first. What is that yokes it and moves it forward? That's all I have for today. It is a reflection on the first student's question and a gratitude to that student. And I'll leave you with one additional thought. Perhaps such reflection helps us understand. This is a completely straight thought, but it came to me when I was trying to study the Gita. Perhaps it's a link to chapter 11 of the Gita. I'll leave you with that thought. When you read chapter 11, maybe this will help understand chapter 11 better. Thank you. With that, I'll open it up for questions. And Vibhaji, let me see. I think I can...
Hariom, Chris, yes. There are no hands raised right now.
That's all right. So we have
one hand is raised. Rani Limaye. I'll unmute her.
Thank you.
Yes, Rani ji.
Hariom, the question I have about your analogy of the water and the waves but can the wave be without the water? So why we are even separating in the sense of it's a form? So water is manifesting as a wave. And you said the water doesn't come to you, it stays in a circular motion. That's what I understood. But practically thinking, whenever there is high tide, we do get the waves coming to your feet if you're standing on the, on the beach. But what I'm trying to understand, can the water be separated from the wave? Wave cannot be there without water, even though it is a circular movement. So I got kind of confused with that analogy that you were giving.
Okay. So I'd like to just say one thing. The concept of wave, we're not talking about waves standing on a beach where they come crashing. No. Look out into the ocean. That's why I picked a lake instead of the ocean to start with. Look out into a lake and you see waves on the surface of the wave. And I agree with you fully. The wave cannot be separated from the water. The wave is a shape of the water. It's a form. But that form is sustained by motion, circular motion of particles of water. So as the wave approaches you, look out into the lake. Don't look at the shore, because every analogy has its limitation. But you've hit the nail on the head in your question. As the wave approaches you, the wave form approaches you, but the water does not. So the analogy that I see is our ego, the wave pretending to be an I, whereas in reality it is sustained by the water, exactly as you've said. So the ego is a thought construct which really doesn't exist. We're always trying to give ego some substance. We say, I am a husband, or I am a daughter's father, or I am an engineer, or I am intelligent, or I am tall. We keep trying to give the ego some substance, but it really does not have any substance. It is just the water. So your question is exactly right, is it not? The wave cannot exist without the water. In a similar way, and Sri Aurobindo explained this very well, I think. Our bodies cannot exist without the universe. Our mind cannot exist without the universe. I'm going to try to digress a little bit, and pardon me if this is not right on the point. But as a grihastha, we have a tremendous advantage. We have many examples available to us. If you look at a baby that's born in your house, and the way the baby grows, and the way it learns to speak and becomes an independent adult, you can see the universe forming the baby's mind. You can see the universe forming the baby's body. Where is the I? And that's exactly what you said. The wave cannot be separated from the water. Perhaps.
Thank you.
I do not see any questions. And what I have found useful in the past, and you're welcome to participate, but it's your choice, is to find out, to perhaps learn a little bit more about each other. Okay, we'll spend about 5 minutes. I'll just pick at random a name because I don't know anybody. How about Vijayalakshmi Menon? Could you tell us a little bit about where you're from and your interest in Vedanta?
I'll unmute her.
Okay, good.
Hello.
Hari Om
Hello.
Vijayalakshmi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hari Om.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Vijayalakshmi ji.
Hari Om. I am from Pune and I am Vibhaji's. I go to Vibhaji's class every week.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I see a raised hand. Vijayalakshmi Bangara.
Yeah, I'll just unmute her. I don't know why it is not getting unmuted. Can you try, Christy, to unmute her? It's not getting unmuted by me.
It's all right. Maybe she can type a question. I don't know. I tried. It didn't seem to work.
Okay. So I don't know why it is not.
It's all right. So again, this is a study of the first verse of the Kenopanishad. Let's go through that again. Om Keneshitam Padati Preshitam Manaha Kena Prānaha Prathamaha Praiti Yuktaha Keneshitam Vachamimam Vadanti Chakshuhu Shrotram Kaudevo Yunakti. Again, this is a question asked by a fellow disciple 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. And the more I reflect on this, the greater the affection I have for this disciple. To me, he's no different than you or me sitting next to each other in front of a teacher. To me, there's an inexpressible gratitude that he had the purity to ask such a difficult question. And when you read the Upanishad, you will see he was the first to answer, to grasp the teacher's teaching and walk away and does his own meditation, his own contemplation. With that, we will close for today. Thank you very much. Hari Om. Namaste.
Hari Om. Thank you, Krishna. Hari Om. We'll see. We'll try to meet you again very soon.
Sure.